I have a long journey, and perhaps I will start with where I am today and then how I got there. I had a career, big career in corporate world. I used to work in Johnson & Johnson for 16 years.
Corporate life is guaranteed, it's safe, it's something that you know is set, and this is a complete 360.
Because I know that I get really inspired when I transform someone's life and I help them, I empower them to transform their life. It's like they are stuck, they admit to themselves that they are stuck, but they are so held by their fear. I do what I love, I'm aligned with my lifestyle, like, I have small kids, I run the business, I travel, like you said, I'm studying as well all
Yes.
the time. So it's a lot of things that I do. I could be all burned out, but I'm not. But I was more in the sales and marketing and commercial and branding background, so leadership development wasn't directly my focus, even though I ran so many trainings and so many workshops during the 16 years.
Hello everyone, and I am very excited today to have a very special guest with me. And today we have with us Sanita. She is a leadership coach and she has a beautiful background of her corporate world, and then how she is helping and facilitating this amazing learning facility. And I want her to introduce herself to you all. Welcome, Sanita, to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Samira, for having me. It's a pleasure.
I am absolutely so happy to have you finally here, because you were traveling all over the world and it was hard to get hold of you. And finally, because she's traveling back again tomorrow. So I had the pleasure to have us here today. So Sanita, tell us about your wonderful works.
Thank you so much. So I have a long journey, and perhaps I will start with where I am today and then how I got there. So today I feel like I really live my calling. For many years I had a career, big career in corporate world. I used to work in Johnson & Johnson for 16 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
That's a long time, especially these days when people change companies every other day. But I had such a beautiful journey because I was working in 5 different countries. I was changing my role every 2 years. I was always advancing in my career. So it was really beautiful career. However, then a couple years ago, especially after my daughters were born, I have twins.
Wow.
They are going to be 6 in March. So
And twins is a handful.
it's a handful. So when they were born, I really started kind of thinking about my life, what I want to do for next 10 years or 15 years, what my career will look like, how I want to design my life. And that's when this realization came that I want to change something. And when you have this realization that you want to change something, that's very scary. Especially for someone who has been in corporate world, always very stable, very secure, advancing, not much, there's nothing I have to do, things are happening, right? And then to have this realization that something has to change, it's very scary.
Yes. I'm happy that you bought the word scary, because not a lot of people would like to be vulnerable or to admit this, because it's the unknown. It's stepping into something that you have no clue how it is going to roll out. And it's complete opposite of the corporate life. Corporate life is guaranteed, it's safe, it's something that you know is set. And this is a complete 360.
Absolutely. This is like changing your life upside down, going from very stable, big job in one of the biggest companies in the world, big position, and then suddenly doing your own thing. It's super scary. But the way I look at kind of fear is sitting, between courage and fear. It's in the middle. So you have to have some fear, because otherwise if you don't have any fear, you're not going to do any action. But then you also have to have a courage, because if you're just held by your fears, then you just are stuck. So you have to have a courage to take those steps while dealing with your fear at the same time. And I think what I have found that really helps me is starting to do a little bit of experiment. So instead of maybe kind of jump in a cold water and try to see if you can survive, do a little bit of experiment. So what I actually did while being in my corporate career, I did my executive MBA.
Beautiful.
So I went to my executive MBA and I met all these amazing entrepreneurs and people who have done so many wonderful things. And it started giving me more ideas. It started me showing that there are other ways to live. And then during that time, I started experimenting a little bit. So I went and worked in a startup as a consultant for just the 2 months, just to see how I feel about it. I started coaching course to see how I feel about coaching people. And through this journey, I kind of slowly designed my next chapter. And then once I finished my MBA and I had already at that point left corporate world, I started my company. And while it's still very scary to start your own company, it felt a little bit more safe because I had given myself that space of almost 1.5 years, slowly redesigning.
That transition was a beautiful experiment.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that is something very well planned, I think, that you have mentioned. How is it going for you now, being being in your own company, having your own system? How is this experience?
It's ups and downs. There is never a one emotion. Because of course, sometimes I feel so inspired. I do some great session as a client. I deliver workshop. People are thankful. They say that they transformed their life. They changed. I mean, you have a high. It's almost like the same high as
a dopamine high.
It's a dopamine high. So that feels wonderful. But then of course, sometimes you're jack of all trades. Like there is no IT assistant and there's no, marketing assistant. So you do everything. I do my own IT, I do my marketing, I do everything. And then I also have to think of strategy. I have to think what my offering will be. I have to execute at the same time. I deliver at the same time. So it can be overwhelming. It really can be overwhelming. And I think what really helps me is to stay focused on my purpose. Because I know that I get really inspired when I transform someone's life and I help them. I empower them to transform their life. It's such a big inspiration for me that just the thought of it helps me to come back.
Yes, I really love the way you have put it, that it's actually doing a larger service, not just about doing your own your own job, but at the same time bringing that magnanimous change, which gives you that real satisfaction despite all the chaos and the management. And I think that is what we all do. Like me also being an entrepreneur, you have to be doing so many things in the beginning.
Absolutely.
Right? And I think we should be in the beauty of it and try to enjoy the process, then be burnt out.
Yes. Burnout is a big topic. But I think the burnout, many people think the burnout comes from working many hours. Burnout actually comes from not being fulfilled in the job you do.
I want you to say it again, because I just love what you just said. It is something so profound.
Yes, because burnout comes from not being fulfilled. Even if you work only 4 hours a day, but you hate every minute of that job, you are in toxic environment, you have boss you don't like, job that gives you no meaning, you will get burned out. And sometimes in my job, I have very flexible, right? I can sometimes work, sometimes take off, but I can work for 14, 16 hours. I'm not getting burned out because I love what I do.
I am just so over the moon with this line that you have said, because it explains so many tough situations that people are at the moment in. They are not enjoying what they're doing, and it just bit by bit they're killing their soul inside.
Absolutely. For me, it's like they are stuck. They admit to themselves that they are stuck, but they are so, and they don't see the way out because they don't know how to live other way, that they just become so unhappy. And for me, that's an amazing motivation that they can work together with someone and help them to get unstuck and see that there is another way. There is no just either or, because everybody thinks it's either that or that. Either I'm in corporate or I'm an entrepreneur, I have no money. Either I'm married, but then I don't have career. Everything is either or, but there is a way to have and. We can have it all.
My God, you're just a book full of these amazing insights. And so let me just take this line and ask you again in a different way. You're saying that we can have it all?
Yes.
How?
I believe it. I believe you can have it all by designing your life. because often what happens, we have life by chance.
Yes.
We finish school, and then you end at an internship,
Mhm.
and that internship ended giving you a job, and the company was great, the money was great, so you stay there, and then you get promotion, and then somebody else headhunter called you, and you get another job, and then 10 years later, you just wake up and you realize that all this was by chance. You actually never sat down to think what you want to do.
Absolutely.
Right? And then, the same happens with marriages. You get married for all different reasons. It's not always the right reasons, but I'm not a psychologist, so I'm not going to go there. So we just happen to live by chance, and it's not in a negative way. It just, life works that way. And when we become more aware, when we have this conscious mind talking to us, then but I could also have it by choice, by design, if I sit down and actually think what I want. And that's what I love about working with people.
Amazing. What you have said just opens so many doors for someone to design their life.
Yes.
Like you have said, we have the option to weigh our options and but then not too many people have the knowledge, the courage, and they're so overgripped by fear.
Yes.
That it becomes very challenging for them to move from that space and walking into the unknown.
100%.
Right? So tell me, Sanita, how do you, how do the client, what are the different roles that you play for the client that you can facilitate them to advance in their, goal?
I think for me, I always start working with values, and most people don't know what their values are, or they think that they have value like honesty or fairness or some big values. But when I actually start digging deeper in their life experiences and they start seeing where they felt successful, where they felt like they achieved, where they felt meaning and fulfillment, they uncover completely new values, and they are so surprised. And then when we start working, okay, well, how could you live more of those? So you now uncover that, I don't know, adventure, for example, is my value. Adventure is my value. Now you uncovered, how could you do more of that? Well, maybe you could join some club that does adventures and you could volunteer there, and so on, right?
Yes.
And it's just by small steps, when you start having that vision and understanding who you are, I don't want to use the word magic because it's not magic, but life starts to unfold. The right doors start to open when you are moving the right direction.
I think that is something so profound that you have said. If we self-navigate and do a self-assessment, self-diagnostic test, is when you can uncover, when you don't get the time to sit for yourself and decide, how can I make my life more better or design it in a more profound way? And so how have you felt? It leads me to my next question. How do you feel like now as a different person than you were before while you were in the corporate world? Did you feel a shift in the mindset?
100%. It's a massive shift in mindset. But right now I feel grounded. I feel aligned. I feel very self-assured. I feel calm. People tell me, oh, you're so calm, you're so inspiring. I feel that way because I do what I love. I'm aligned with my lifestyle. I have small kids, I run the business, I travel, like you said, I'm studying as well all the time. So it's a lot of things that I do. I could be all burned out, but I'm not, because I'm very much aligned, and it is a change of mindset. And I think the change of mindset is two things. One is that it's not either or, but it's and the change of mindset is that you can do it. You can. For the longest time, I will tell you the story. For the longest time, on the office in my house, I had the poster, and the poster said only two words: you can.
Wow. You can.
Yes. It's every day I'm like, you can, you can, you can. It's like affirmation in your head, right? That you have to repeat yourself.
That shift in mindset is possible, right?
It's possible.
And I feel like even with you, outside this podcast, when I sit with you, I find that you are so calm. You exactly know what you're doing, how everything's going to be laid out, and you are also providing that resonance of peace to the other person that is speaking with you, and I think that all comes with experience and having complete surety of your own compass.
Yes, I love that you said the compass, because actually, when I talk about leadership, I always use the word compass, and courage is the
Yes.
center of the compass. And then you have the purpose, you have self-awareness, you have an emotional ability to regulate yourself, and you also have resilience, because all of this takes a lot of resilience. You will go through ups and downs, but then as long as you know what your purpose, why you do it, why you are inspired to do it, you always can navigate yourself back to the right point.
Sanita, did you always know that you are going to come into the coaching leadership position? I mean, I can also see it very much aligned with your corporate world, because that is exactly what you were doing, but in a kind of a different way. But over here, it's like you're the master of your own work. So
No, I didn't know. And actually, in corporate world, of course, I always worked with people. I was always project manager, team manager, all different, managing people, of course. But I was more in the sales and marketing and commercial and branding background. So leadership development wasn't directly my focus, even though I ran so many trainings and so many workshops during the 16 years. But when I took the year off, I didn't know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm interested in wellness and well-being. I'm interested in human potential. I'm interested in preventative health, how we stay healthy and fit. So I was looking at all these different areas. And actually, for someone who wants to transition, this is a good tip
yes,
that I can share with the audience, how to transition. Because when we want to transition, it's not like we wake up in the morning and we suddenly have this beautiful vision of who
Yes.
we're gonna become. It's not like that. What actually happens that we start working on our transition and getting to know ourselves, and we start developing different ways of how our future could look like. We have 5-10 different versions of our future self, what I call, and then we need to go and test. So let's say you would want to become a opera singer.
yeah,
So you would go and maybe take a few music classes and see whether you like singing. And then you would discover whether you like or you don't.
it's like taking a car for a test drive.
Exactly. And then you check different viable options, and then slowly you start to see where the path is going, and then you zoom into that one and you do more of that, and again the door starts opening.
Beautiful. And I think another step forward on that same note is if you interact with the people in that particular field, or you get to know about how they work in their industry, to kind of get a trailer or highlights of what this is really that, because most often a lot of people, when they actually go into that field, they realize it's not for them.
That's so true. That is
You
so
know?
true. Absolutely.
But I think this was your true calling.
For me, yes.
Yes.
That's where I started, right? I actually didn't finish my thought from beginning. It's like either you have a job, career, or calling. And calling is like really you feel like you have purpose and you live the purpose. However, you can, do all of those. But for me, that's where I am. I'm so happy right now.
And tell me, because nobody teaches this to us in school, in college, in work, at work, or your friends. Many times people who feel burnout or who feel that there is a lack of compass or their direction, how can they start? For some people who don't have any hope, or they're kind of like, how important is this, for them to understand their position at the current time and how they can make that difference?
That's a wonderful question. I think that every start starts with decision, because we have to make a decision. Because so many people talk about things, but then they don't take any action whatsoever.
Yep.
So that's a starting point. You make a decision and then you take an action. And of course you can reach out and talk to a coach or mentor, or you have all those support networks but you can also pick up a book, right? So many books out there. Go to the bookstore and find a book, how to find your purpose, or anything. The most important is to start. It's to take an action, and then also to be curious and to learn. I have done so much learning. I don't think I have stopped learning for a day in the last 4 or 5 years. My head is exploding from all the learning I have done. But that's when you start also discovering all these things. The more you learn, the more you discover, and the more you grow, and the more you grow, the more opportunities open.
Absolutely. I think that is so right. That I think it is us to decide and to make that decision, if we even want, because some people they don't even want to improve. You know, some people, they don't want to change. They are settled for what has been given to them, and then life happens for you. You don't make life happen.
Exactly.
And then do you think, like, for instance, have you seen what is the difference of change in your client who comes to you, and then when you think that, you know, he has found his way, what is the response? How do you see the difference?
I mean, it's amazing. They come there, like the other week, the client said, "You transformed my life," like, and then he thinks you're a magician. I said, "I'm not a magician," but I mean, it's like in a transformative way, right? Because they suddenly start seeing themselves differently. They start acting differently. They start perceiving how others perceive them differently. Because often we are so blocked by how others perceive us, what others will think about. And when we start getting the self-assurance and self-confidence and knowledge of who we are, what others think of us becomes actually less important. And that's the freedom.
Yes,
That's the freedom.
that is so important. That but you give them the tools, right? You have this ammunition. You have put in so many years of your experience, your learning, your growth, your studying, and then you know, having the right tools and having the right guidance is so
Yes.
important.
Absolutely.
It can make or break you, because if someone is coming and reaching out, they are really in need. They have made the decision, number one, that they want to change their existing state,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
They have crossed the main thing.
Yes.
But then finding the right source, because I see that many times we don't find the exact right, authentic person,
Yes.
that practitioner.
100%. I mean, it's about connection as well. Like, do you connect with the person? And you know, for me, my company is called Across and Beyond, but the word that I always use is beyond. It's beyond newsletter, the beyond everything, right?
Yes.
Beyond talks
Yes.
and so forth, because it's the journey of going beyond. So you have come to that point, you have made decision, you want to change, and now how do you go beyond? And who can guide you? Who can help you? Who can unlock your true potential? And with some clients, it's all about, okay, I just need my leadership kind of brand. I want to show up in the right way, then I can help them obviously with that. Somebody is, I don't even know what my calling is and purpose. How do I discover that? And I can help in that. And then somebody, I know what my calling is. I know exactly what I want to do, and I have my brand all figured out, but it's my mind that I need to change. Can you help with that? And you know, every person is so individual, so it's not like I can just prescribe some kind of cookie cutter recipe for how to know.
It's unique for every client.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's very unique.
So, Sanita, like, I think the mindset is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Do you?
100%.
How important can you?
For me, mindset is everything, because mindset can block you, mindset can make you feel small, mindset can make you like you're not good enough, you're not enough, and all those things. Or mindset can feel like you're empowered, you can do anything, and whatever you believe is what you're gonna do. If you believe you are not good enough, you're not gonna be good enough, and if you believe that you can do anything, then you can do anything. It's true.
Amazing. What more do you think? Like, for those people out there who want to get in touch with you, how do you want them to, you know, start with? Like, what are the tools? Or, like, you know, first of all, how can they get in touch with you? But what is the message that you want to give? Because I know so many of my people, my friends, people who have started their own business, who are burnt out, who just don't find that ray of hope or that source. So how is it that anyone can start with the new lease of life, a new journey?
I think it starts with our ability to dream again.
Wow.
Because what happens is when we are so many years in corporate world, or we are, you know, doing things we are not aligned with, we are not allowing ourselves to dream. We just are so practical. Everything is just so practical. And when we actually allow ourselves, even if we say, okay, these dreams are just dreams and they never will happen, but just allowing your brain and your head and your mind and your heart to dream again is already opening the door. And then once you start to dream again, you're having new vision. And once you have a vision, your brain neurologically will start focusing on making that vision a reality.
Yes. And coming on to this, like the mindset, right? If you want to make that shift in your mindset, do you think it starts with the habits? Like, you know, something like a snippet of what you have said. Like, how can we actually dig deeper and make those good habits a permanent, legacy of our footprints?
So for me, that comes because if habits are super hard to change. That's probably the hardest thing to change. And we can have as much motivation, we can be as much anything, but it's really, really hard. And for me, what helps to change habits is when you see the purpose that stands above yourself.
Wow. Yes.
So, like, for example, let's say I wanted to change a habit. I wanted to be less, I'm not patient enough. I want to change that. I'm not, let's say, patient enough with my children. If I just say, well, I need to be more patient, it's nothing will change. But when I say, well, I want to be role model for my children, because when they grow up, I want them to be patient, that's already higher a goal for yourself. You already have a higher purpose.
Yes.
So anything, like anything in business as well, if you're just like, well, I need to get up early because I need to make more money, that's probably not going to help you to get up early. But if you say, I want to get up early because I have this amazing products that is literally going to change the life of millions of children,
absolutely,
you'll get out of bed.
I think when you think larger than life and something selfless and just mere, not limiting to yourself and beyond yourself.
Yes, beyond.
I want to talk a little about manifestation.
Okay.
Right? So if somebody wants something to be manifested, or they struggle to bring about those things that they feel attracted to and they want it to come to you automatically, like what is it? How does it work?
I don't know how manifestation works, but I do believe in having a clear vision and visualization
Yes.
of your goals. So for example, every year I set a vision for myself. When I started my transformation, I set a 10-year vision for myself.
Wow.
That I literally printed out and put on my wall. And I had no idea how to make any of that, because whatever that vision said had nothing that my life was at that moment.
Wow.
But just having that vision is already going to start because your mind will start focusing on those things that you have in your vision. So for example, in January, I'm running a small workshop, vision setting workshop, because I believe when we set the vision for a year, then our mind will start happening. The athletes, before any kind of sports competition, they all visualize themselves being on that podium. They all visualize the run time they will do, the strengths they will do, and they visualize, and then they start the competition. And the stronger you are able to visualize seeing yourself succeeding, the more everything will align for you to actually get there. So that's why vision, goals, written, printed, visual in front of you, it's so important. You have to see yourself succeeding in order to succeed.
Oh my God. I mean, the way you have said it so beautifully, Sanita, it's like I can actually feel myself feeling that energy, because it's amazing how you said that you had a vision and you had put it on your board, which was not at the moment.
Nothing. It was nothing. I was in a corporate job in sales and marketing, and my vision was a portfolio career, being a coach, mentor, speaker, author, all these different things. I had none of that. I had no idea how to make that happen. I literally had no idea. But once you have the vision and you start just tuning into that vision, you start finding intuitively your own
Yes.
ways.
Do you feel like these opportunities also come to you, like in a kind of a miraculous way, like something that you have been tapping into and it automatically just, do you feel those?
I always love the saying, hard work pays off.
Yes.
And people think that successful or you're just going to sit on a sofa and all these opportunities will come to me. No, opportunities will not come to you if you're not going to do the work. But opportunities come to you if you do the work. If you go and meet the people, you get yourself exposed, you meet the right person, somebody thinks the opportunity, you go and take a class because you're curious to learn, you meet someone, you get the opportunity, and so forth. When you do the work, opportunities come. When you just sit and do nothing, the opportunities will not come.
Oh my God, I love what you said. It all has to do with the hard work and with the mindful intention that you set out. And it's not easy. Like some people think it's by luck.
No.
Or some people think that, it's just something that was gifted or inborn. Yes, there is talent in the inside genius skills that we all may have, but it needs effort.
Luck is when opportunity meets preparation. So
Wow.
what does that tell you, right?
Luck is when opportunities
Meets preparation.
Absolutely. And the preparation which is within our control.
Absolutely.
And again, I think all of this that we have and you have said, it's all hard work.
It is very hard work.
It is not easy. You know, sometimes things look very glamorous, they look very effortless, but there's so much behind the scene.
Absolutely, it's hard work. You have to learn, you have to overcome your limitations, you have to always motivate yourself, you have to learn how to bounce back, how to be resilient, how to prep your mind to see the more of the positive, not in a silly positivity, not like everything is beautiful. No, optimistic, realistic positivity that you are even the challenge is there, I'll find a way.
Yes.
It's your ability knowing that you can find a way no matter what. But that comes with hard work. That comes with a lot of hard work.
I think I've had the most beautiful episode with you today. And is there something that you want to, in the end, leave the audience with?
How can we find you and how can we book an appointment and what is the way to get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So my website, sanitapukite.com, that we will link in the show notes. I'm on Instagram, so same name, very active on LinkedIn. People can reach out via DM. And I'm in Dubai, so of course I can meet anytime in person or online if it's easier for people to reach me online.
Amazing. So it's an online and also an in-person that you can have, like Sanita. And I can't wait to have another episode with you because I think I'm going to go back and make a complete list of these beautiful things that you shared with us. And thank you so much for this. It was an absolute amazing conversation that we had today. And I think you're traveling tomorrow, so I should feel lucky that I had you today with me on the show.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I know this being hard to arrange, but I'm so glad that I'm here and we had this conversation.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. And I can't wait to have you back soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. And can't wait to see you in the next session.